Hello and welcome to News Tonight. I am Rhoda Ngonzi, on sign language, Dorothy Namuyomba. Let's take a look at the top stories. MPs pay tribute to UPDF for pacifying northern Uganda. They also moved to change the mode of electing the leader of opposition. While People Power's Chagulanyi welcomes NRM political defectors, cautions leaders without integrity, and NEMA to resume second phase of uninterrupted evictions. Hello once again. Let's dig into it. President Yoweri Museveni has blamed the 2018 return of cattle rustling in Karamoja sub-region on carelessness by some security commanders. The president says this was due to corruption through swindling of money meant for local defense units who felt aggrieved and engaged in cattle rustling. The president revealed this while addressing Parliament in Gulu City, where he guided more on commercial agriculture, including the popular flour acre model.
Of Parliament never speak the same voice with their ruling party counterparts has been proven wrong. The Thursday sitting of the House in Gulu has a motion to pay tribute to President Yoweri Museveni and the Uganda People's Defence Forces unite these MPs.
I reflected, Retro Speaker, a situation where they used to tell us that guns would be singing in different tones, alto, bass and soprano, from morning to evening.
Jointly seconded, the motion moved by Kazo County Member of Parliament Dan Kimosho was a welcome for both political factions.
Retro Speaker, in the evening, we walked on the streets of Gulu, up to like 10 kilometers inside, for jogging and health fitness purposes. And everyone was enjoying themselves. Well, and it was tarmac. Actually, it is more exemplary than most of the towns in this country.
The successful wiping of rebel movements from the north was key among reasons for the motion support.
For those of you who have ever lived in a war-torn area will agree with me that life in a state of war is a life that you never wish to live in after war.
We were called Anyanya because this region was characterized with bloodshed. Here we are, seated comfortably, deliberating because of the fruits of His Excellency the President and other patriots of this country.
The Lord's Resistance Army, led by Joseph Kony, had ravaged northern Uganda for long. It is no more.
Some of us who suffered, like me, I was in Ngora camp. People suffered, people died. I saw people die, and I suffered with my siblings at around 10 or 11 years. So it's quite challenging, but we are grateful.
More than 20 years living in internally displaced camps, abandoning their homes completely, and some of them were staying on the streets. Some of them abducted by Kony, the young girls abducted and taken up by rebels of Kony as wives, others taken up by Kony himself as wife. Very, very important that the president, with the effort of the UPDF, tried their best to ensure that they bring peace.
Even the fallen sons of the soil who put in a lot to ensure that northern Uganda is pacified. So it was timely that during this special sitting in northern Uganda, such a motion is brought to pay tribute to the president.
Karamoja sub-region, which is also part of northern Uganda, did not miss out in the deliberations. This is because cattle rustling had become part of the area. Today, it is all a thing of the past, thanks to tireless efforts by the UPDF.
I witnessed the disarmament process. I witnessed when the soldiers died. The commanders, I saw their bodies in parts of Karamoja. I am a witness to the level of sacrifice of the men in uniform, the UPDF. At some point I asked myself, what was the motivation? Up to today, I cannot find the answers. That spirit of sacrifice, the revolutionary spirit, I do not know how the commander-in-chief inculcated that revolutionary spirit in the UPDF.
President Yoweri Museveni had been invited to address the House. He listened and welcomed the tribute.
When we are budgeting, this is very important for you fellows. How could we build such a powerful army with very little money? Because we budget according, we plan according to our small budget. That's why when we are building the army, we don't start with the barracks. The barracks don't look so smart. We start with the personnel, the training, and the weapons.
Other legislators and ministers agreed with what they described as a timely motion.
Because the president was very resilient and remained consistent in not only mobilizing the people to abandon the war, but also deploying UPDF and other forces.
History should always be told. These children of nowadays don't know what war is. They even want to see what it looks like. But I think we need to keep talking to our children so that they appreciate the peace.
And the president has been the lead person in this, contributing in the return of peace here. Now, northern Uganda is not just peaceful, it's growing at a rate that some areas may have to run to catch them up.
All this happening at the regional parliamentary sitting currently in Gulu City, northern Uganda. I'm Navka Farida and Henry Krut.
Meanwhile, Parliament has overwhelmingly voted to pay tribute to President Yoweri Museveni and the Uganda People's Defence Forces for successfully pacifying northern Uganda. The motion, massively seconded by opposition and ruling party legislators combined, was moved by Kazo County MP Dan Kimosho. This was at the ongoing regional parliamentary sitting in Gulu, graced by the President this afternoon.
No sooner had he been ushered into the counter grounds of Gulu City and a motion for a tribute in his honor passed than the head of state was invited to address Parliament. Top in his presentation was how cattle rustling in Karamoja sub-region, which is part of northern Uganda, returned in 2018.
It wasn't just the removal of the troops. There were also some mistakes by our commanders, corruption. They stole the money of the LDUs. You know, we had Karamojong LDUs. And they stole their money. They didn't pay them. And you know how confused the Karamojong groups are. So they said, okay, so if you are not paying us, we are going to raid. That's how it all started.
This, he says, was the reason why the aggrieved people opted to rise up in arms to the disadvantage of the region.
There was also another man, I've forgotten his name, is it Achuchu? Achuchu, the one whose wife they took when he was in jail. And when he came from jail, he said, you better repress my wife who was taken. They just looked at him. He went and raided cattle to buy another woman. That's how it all started again. So it was the carelessness of our people, the corruption.
Peace has since been restored through a second disarmament. It is this peace that is required for economic activities to blossom, including commercial agriculture.
We have been telling you and telling everybody since the 1960s that whatever you do, if you want the people to develop, start with the homestead incomes. Start with the homestead incomes. Because we are now talking of roads, what. There are where roads are good. The road from Gulu to Kampala is definitely good. It's not about the problem of the bridge is a recent one. It has just come now. Otherwise, the road was good. All the way from Matiak, from Bibia, was tarmac all the way to Kampala. The one from Musingo, Kitugum, Gulu, all the way to Kampala.
Earlier, the Speaker of Parliament had indicated that the 4-acre model may not be a good venture in northern Uganda, citing vast availability of land. The President, however, disagreed.
In 2018, I made a countrywide tour, zone by zone, and I gave you this booklet, where I talked of the 4 sectors and the 7 ways for wealth creation and job creation.
The 4-acre model may not be vital in this area because we have all the land. All we need is to do mechanization, provide some funds in societies, create a market for these products, identify the cash crops to be grown in this area, to have a participatory approach to what is being done in area.
Speaker, don't please bring a new confusion by saying that the 4 acres model does not apply here. It does. I don't agree with that line. In this booklet, I made it clear that the 4 acres model was a rescue operation.
The Speaker would later welcome the President's guidance and gospel on commercial farming in northern Uganda.
While we appreciate the solution-oriented 4-acre model for prosperity, we still reiterate we need mechanization in the region. And like what one member said, they were given tractors without horse. We need mechanization.
Even if you say cotton, you will get 1 million shillings gross from 1 acre. Even if you have got 12 acres, as you say, because somebody was saying that you have big land, 12 acres. 12 acres is not big land, unless you get another word for big. If you are saying Madit, is it Madit or Madwong? 12 acres is not a lot. So if you have got 10 acres, 2 acres are for food, you remain with the 10 acres. If you get 1 million from 1 acre, is 10 million enough? So I want the real chura, please, Right Honorable Speaker. Chura, not just talking.
The current sitting of Parliament in Gulu is focusing on matters affecting the greater northern part of Uganda. Henry Okrut, UBC, Gulu.
Now, Parliament has initiated a process to change the mode of electing the leadership of the opposition. A bill titled the Administration of Parliament Amendment Bill 2024 proposes to end the long-lasting entitlement of the biggest opposition party in Parliament from electing or appointing the leader of opposition and the chief whip. Mityana South Member of Parliament Richard Lumu fronts the current legal procedure as a lacuna affecting service delivery in the House. The Speaker of Parliament, Anita Among, has tasked the critics of the bill to make use of the committee stages rather than bringing down the rights of the Member of Parliament. Daniel Mugoya reports.
Honourable members, the 2-day of Parliament regional sittings in northern Uganda started with a note to address the missing link caused by the absence of the leader of opposition in Parliament.
So the Parliament which is here has no leader of opposition, which is a bit absurd. And again, the other members from political parties, other political parties who are attending parliament here, but it is as if their leader is not there. And the leader, who is the leader of opposition, these other parties are not accountable, or he's not accountable, those parties.
Michana South Member of Parliament Richard Lumu has thought it wise that the gap can only be addressed by making changes in the legal framework.
A party with the majority members of Parliament in opposition shall produce the leader of opposition in a consultation. But I bet if there is any other party which has ever been consulted on who to become leader of opposition, now that one is a lacuna.
MP Lumu has spearheaded a bill to introduce an amendment in the Administration of Parliament Act to provide for the election of both the leader of opposition and the opposition chief whip by members of the respective parties in Parliament, rather than the current mode of appointment by the largest opposition party with a numerical strength in Parliament. According to MP Lumu, the move will enhance a democratic participation, being that elections are a fundamental aspect of democracy. Lumu further stresses that the current operations of the Office of the Leader of Opposition ring-fences the ideas and the members of other opposition into a one-party business which locks out popular participation.
That the leader of opposition sometimes want to herd people like he's herding cows.
But the spirit of the bill is the question at play.
The way I look at it, I feel Parliament and the presiding officers are trying to target the leader of the opposition because he's being very strong and very straight. I recall when the leader of opposition was announcing that this sitting is the wastage of taxpayers' money. And at the end, he said, we are not going to participate. So I really feel this one could be part of the ploy to stream and to cut down the power of the leader of the opposition. I think it is a calculated move.
The law should now be amended to allow all political parties in Parliament to come together and have a vote on who should be their leader. Not the single party with the majority to determine the fate of the political parties. Because at the end of the day, it has the number, but these parties also have a vote.
So now that the Speaker has allowed this, I think let her allow the other amendments to the Administration of Parliament Act. But also secondly, I'm not sure what the intention of the movers is. Because at the end of the day, somebody might also move that let us also elect the leader of government business. Because I think the framers of the Constitution ideally knew what they intended to achieve.
MP Kakembo Mbwate Kamwa of Entebbe Municipality, a member of the National Unity Platform Party, was the main seconder of the proposed new legislation.
In good faith, it will help us, it will build us more, because unity of the opposition means the strength of the opposition. Respect for each other means what? Because I must participate in electing my leader as the opposition.
The Speaker of Parliament, Anita Among, has dismissed claims that the move carries personal vendetta, as members are allowed to exhibit their rights.
There is no fight. The law is not made for one person. Today I am a leader of opposition, tomorrow another person will be a leader and whatever. But I don't see any fight in this thing, and you can reject when it comes to the second reading.
MPs have reacted on the proposed new legislation.
With the time, these amendments should not only stop with the leader of opposition. Me, I think this amendment should even include commissioners. It should include chairpersons of committees. Why do I say this? I was recently in Ghana and we were studying their system. It is more or less like this, what we are trying to, amend.
Okay.
And let me tell you, it makes leaders to be more responsible.
Daniel Mugoya, Gloria Gutabinji, UBC News in Gulu.
And the members of Parliament have vowed to take exemplary leadership to practice the 4-acre model farm initiative as preached by President Yoweri Museveni. This is after the president implored the legislators to mobilize Ugandans to take part in the wealth creation initiatives in order to stabilize their homesteads' income. During his address to Parliament in Gulu, the President emphasized that the people with large chunks of land should undertake extensive agriculture to realize monetary value. MPs welcomed the President's endless efforts to preach the gospel of commercial farming.
The Minister of State for Northern Uganda, Kenneth Omona, says the level of poverty in northern region is at 67.7%, which needs urgent attention. Omona says the government investment in education and infrastructure needs to be enhanced further by increasing the household income.
There are many things that we are planning as government, including mechanization, expanding, increased mechanization in agriculture. There are many people here who still have vast land. So we want government to put in more money, especially to provide tractor-hire services, and also maybe agricultural service centers in the north here, where people can get information, right information about farming.
But this is possible through tuning the mindset of the locals to commercial production, including guiding the locals on high-value crops like coffee.
So we should be calculated this time. I'm also guiding the people to go for high-value crops like coffee. Coffee grows, by the way, in a number of places in northern Uganda here. Coffee, avocado, and many of these crops. So, depending on how much land you have and what capacity you have, we need to guide our people on what to do. Even when talking about growing coffee, we must guide the people. When do we begin to grow coffee? How do we plant coffee?
This discussion with Kenneth Omona was after President Yoweri Museveni on Thursday took part of a parliamentary proceedings in Gulu City and emphasized the 4-acre model initiative of maximizing production through farming. The MPs welcomed the President's endless efforts to spread the gospel of commercial agriculture, which is timely to the Northern Corridor.
I think let all the political class take up my message of the homestead incomes. I was in my village in Baldegi, in Lango. I wanted to go back, and when I took off from my helicopter, there was nothing happening around where I was. I want to go back and discuss with those Baldegi people.
Now, when that message is reinforced by the president and the consistency of that message, it is very important, because if the president has gone to Ankole, has spoken about 4-acre model. If he has gone to West Nile, he has spoken about 4-acre model. If he comes to Acholi, like today, speaks about 4-acre model. And he goes to Karamoja, speaks about 4-acre model. And he keeps giving example of success story where the 4-acre model has succeeded, that somebody has used 1 acre for growing vegetables.
The MPs want to lead by example through carrying the flag, to engage in the 4-acre model farming as a demonstration to the locals and to adhere to the presidential campaign to end poverty.
Opening on demonstration farms so that our people learn, so that we are not only preaching but also doing the gospel, so that they can learn by what we are doing. When they see us earning from, for example, our coffee farms, from livestock, then the people can also copy. So then taking the gospel is not enough. Taking the gospel must be matched by the required inputs that our local people need to grow these investments.
From the head of state, from the fountain of honor, I think it reinforces the point that for us to move forward, yes, we are now ideologically realigned, but we must remain steadfast and disciplined to continue to pursue the correct ideology.
President Yoweri Museveni, in his address to the MPs, shared successful areas which have utilized irrigation avenues to address water scarcity, tipping the MPs of the ventures. The discussion is what the MPs think will improve the budget priorities between Parliament and the Executive.
We will be happy. In fact, I want to see whether this gospel of household income will be reflected in the budget that the Executive will submit.
Daniel Mugoya, Gloria Gutabinji, UBC News.
Meanwhile, the National Environment Management Authority is set to resume the phased restoration exercise in Kampala Metropolitan. It's starting with areas where restoration orders were issued, but the grace period lapsed. In the Kampala-Lubigi section, the restoration will continue upon completion of the review of petitions of those who appealed the exercise. Similarly, the restoration exercise in the other parts of the country is ongoing and uninterrupted.
In May 2024, the National Environment Management Authority embarked on the exercise to restore degraded wetlands across the country. The restoration exercise that started in the central region, mainly Lubigi, was aimed at restoring at least 1,526 hectares of the degraded wetland under Lubigi restoration exercise. The first phase of the restoration exercise of Lubigi, one of the highly degraded wetlands, saw at least 214 households evicted out of the 315 that had been issued restoration orders. Makeshift structures, businesses, educational, residential structures and places of worship that had been illegally established in the Gazette wetland were brought down.
Evictions are still going on across the country. Lubigi, the operation is still going on.
However, some establishments that had complied with the environmental policies, like Starbucks, were spared. The development was spared to save the country from financial costs and compensation over breach of contract. NEMA anticipates to continue with the uninterrupted evictions despite temporary halts of the restoration exercise in Kampala-Lubigi section following pending petitions.
We shall have operations very soon covering areas of unfinished business of Lubigi, Nansana, Nabweru, Nambijirwa on Entebbe Road. So those are the sites that we are coming to, and we've already issued the restoration orders in these areas.
The process of reviewing petitions from Kampala-Lubigi petitioners is ongoing, and the exercise is expected to resume in this section only upon completion of the legal process, whereas the restoration exercise slowed down in the areas of Kampala Metropolitan. NEMA reminds all those in Gazette areas to use the grace period to voluntarily leave before they are assisted. A warning has also been sounded to those returning to restored areas that they risk facing restoration costs.
So take this opportunity to plan and vacate peacefully. So those who do not live peacefully, we shall definitely inconvenience them, which wouldn't be our desire.
Among the areas where restoration orders were issued earlier but the grace period lapsed include Nansana, Nabweru, Ganda, Bira, Chengera, Waise, Kawempe, Chinawataka, Nakawa, Chira, Banda, and some parts of Wachiso.
Other areas where we haven't reached with restoration orders, you also know yourselves and you know that you are in wetlands.
Under Section 131, Subsection 1 of the National Environment Act 2019, all wetland degraders are expected to meet all costs of restoration of the wetland as provided by the Act. In this regard, NEMA was supposed to seek guidance from the Directorate of Public Prosecution on whether to transfer the cost to the degraders, but the President offered amnesty. Nonetheless, the President retaliated that the government will not compensate anyone for an illegality of invading Gazette wetlands.
If we compensate this, then the others also will come. Then we compensate them. Then we have already compensated you by not prosecuting you. So you just go. That's a compensation.
The wetland restoration exercise is being done under Section 130 of the National Environment Act of 2019. Susan Naonga reporting for UBC TV.
And at the event of the National Unity Platform, NUP party headquarters in Makerere Kavule, NUP President Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu criticized members of Parliament and the House for proposing amendments to the election process of the leader of opposition. Now, he made these remarks while welcoming new defectors from the National Resistance Movement NRM party, including former Mukono MP Muyanja Senyonga and former Kumansimbi MP Haji Lugayi Chisolo, among others. During the same event, Kyagulanyi handed over vehicles to national coordinators of the party to aid them in their mobilization efforts.
The gathering saw National Unity Platform members from various regions converge to welcome the new members in the party from the National Resistance Movement Party, including former Mukono MP Muyanja Senyonga and former Bukomansimbi MP Haji Lugayi Chisolo, among others.
oyambe abakulembeze b'eddiini.
Otwaniriza abantu abapya abatwegasseeko mwe muli ne bennavuganya nabo negenda kugenda NUP naye olwaleero basinzidde ku kukola kwange ne beegatta ku NUP.
NUP Secretary General David Louis Lubongoya addressed the new members, emphasizing that leadership positions within the party must be earned through hard work. He also encouraged Ugandans to register online for various party activities.
We have been trying to establish committees all across the country. The reason and the purpose for those committees, again, is not for people to get into positions. I want to be categorical that those committees we are setting up all over the country are not the ones going to select candidates in the next election. And sir, mugende ku officers a National Unity Platform, mufune kadi zamwe, bw'oba tosobodde kutuuka ku National Unity Platform office, kozesa online system, wewandiise.
Joel Senyonyi, the leader of opposition in parliament, expressed surprise over the recent remarks by Speaker Anita Among, who suggested that those who did not attend parliament sessions in Gulu were not concerned about the people of Gulu.
Ate nga parliament mu kugendayo buwumbi na buwumbi obusaasaanyiddwa tetugamba ekyo kikyamu okwagala okulowoozesa abantu nti ebizibu by'eggwanga okutereera parliament erina kuva wano e Kampala nejja ku buwumbi obuyitirivu etule mu bitundu ebyenjawulo kuba kuwuddiisa bannansi.
It has been brought in good spirit to say that all members of parliament can participate as far as electing a bit of opposition is concerned. I think it will be in bad faith.
Chagulanyi further cautioned Ugandans about leaders who lack integrity regardless of their party affiliation.
Olwaleero nga wa opposition yenyini oba yeefuna wa opposition nga gyagamba kakati NUP bagijjeko obuyinza obulonda leader of opposition. Waliwo abantu abaagala ensi yaabwe mu buli pate, mu FDC, mu DP, mu JEMA, mu NRM. Ate waliyo abali b'enkwe mu buli pate ne mu NUP mwebali temubamanyi.
The event concluded with the distribution of vehicles to the National Mobilization Team representing different regions to enhance their efforts in grassroots mobilizations.
Comrade Julian Kabagambe, Nakrichi Chumuluso, Nejimotoka, Ojendo Mwesi Yona, Okunga Bantu Bona, Barambanje Bona, Obatomu Chigombe Chitu, cha National Unity Platform.
Komagum Rogers and Jamil Sekaja for UBC.
And Kampala's waste management efforts are under scrutiny as Katikolo in Mukono district becomes one of the newly identified dumping sites for garbage from the city centre. The site, which spans 7.9 acres, now has only 3 left to accommodate the waste from Kampala.
Okuva kiteesire yabumbulukuka mu malimu mufiremu abantu abasoba
to make you happy. All that time you would be complaining. I'll call you every day, yeah yo, baby dondolo.
You can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks Kubei Dondolo. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000 or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100 *21 hash and select daily or use the My MTN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
Once upon a time, there lived identical twins who gave birth to beautiful princes and princesses.
Their mothers gave their babies' bodies a lot of care by applying on their skin with baby Junior jelly.
Though dried their chariots and everyone would admire their glowing skin. Fun fact, baby Junior prevents diaper rash, dry and sensitive skin.
Moms all over Africa love baby Junior jelly. Baby Junior the skin, no more worries anymore. Baby Junior.
Baby Junior.
Do you need data collection services, data analysis and reporting, monitoring and evaluation systems? Then contact Mold Technologies, a professional research firm that has provided many organizations with timely research solutions for over 15 years. For more information, visit www.mt.co.ug or call us on 0704 913 399 or 0782 602 963. Visit our office in Kampala at Sayuni Complex in Tinda. Mold Technologies, your professional research firm.
Sometimes the pressure of paying taxes can feel overwhelming. The temptation to cut corners and under-declare your income may creep in. But before you make that choice, consider the cost. Under-declaring taxes might seem like an easy way out, but the consequences can be severe. URA offers resources and payment plans to help you manage your taxes. You can pay in installments if it's difficult to pay in full. Transparency is key. Avoid penalties and unexpected liabilities by reporting everything accurately. To report corruption, call URA on our toll-free lines. Uganda Revenue Authority. Developing Uganda together.
Uganda, are you ready to kick things up to the next level? The Uganda National Lottery brings you Sports Take 10. Predict the results of 10 football games and win big. With tickets at only 500 shillings, join the fun and make your predictions count with Sports Take 10. Sports Take 10, your ticket to football glory.
Uganda National Lottery. Dream, play, win.
Participants must be 18 years or older. Play responsibly. The Uganda National Lottery is operated by Ituba Uganda and regulated by the National Lotteries and Gaming Regulatory Board.
Welcome back. You are still watching News Tonight. Kampala Capital City Authority is set to acquire over 100 acres of land for the establishment of a sanitary dump site for the city's garbage disposal 30 kilometers from the city center. Executive Director Dorothy Chisaka highlighted this while at the convention with the Smart City ambassadors from the 5 divisions of Kampala to tackle solid waste management. She revealed this while meeting the Smart City ambassadors on waste management and sanitation in the city, aimed at rallying the grassroots to adopt new methods in solid waste management. Sorry for that.
The collapse of the Chiteze landfill has acted as a wake-up call to the city's authorities in finding compatible solutions for waste management in the city. The catastrophe did not only cost lives but also caused a garbage disposal crisis in the city. In the notch to avoid a similar disaster at Chiteze, Kampala Capital City Authority is set to acquire over 100 acres of land for the establishment of a sanitary dump site for effective solid waste management in the city.
Looking for a piece of land which is not less than 150 acres. It should not be more than 30 kilometers out of the city. It should not be on the main roads, not Ginger Road, not Masaka Road, not Entebbe Road, not Bombo Road. It should be a place where the residents are far away.
The Executive Director, KCCA, Dorothy Chisaka, highlighted the potential requirements for this land to be a potential dumping site, as advertised to the public through the print media.
We are building the sanitary landfill, and around it we shall leave an acreage of half a kilometer from the landfill itself. So the residents must not be near. We want a safe place and where we can prepare sufficiently so that we dump our garbage in the short term as we prepare to go to the next level of turning waste into energy.
In order to achieve the Smart City agenda, she urged the Smart City ambassadors from the 5 divisions of Kampala to sensitize the public on sorting garbage to ease collection and recycling.
If you pour all the organic material in one place, you know that it's going to disintegrate. But if it is mixed up with kavera, with polythene bags, with plastic, it does not disintegrate, because by nature plastics and the polythenes take ages, take years before they disintegrate. So we would like for the households to sort, so that those who are going to turn waste into energy also have a better way of dealing with our waste.
By working together, Kampala's Smart City ambassadors aim to instill garbage discipline in homes, healthier environment, in order to achieve the Smart City agenda. Justine Nakame, Faith Kayen, UBC News.
Meanwhile, health experts and environmentalists want government to embrace modern ways of managing waste instead of creating more landfills that have negative impacts on human health and the environment. The Director of Public Health in the Ministry of Health, Dr. Daniel Chava-Yinze, stresses that it is high time Uganda embraced innovative ways of waste management.
This is Chitezi, a landfill where waste generated in Kampala and its environs is deposited. According to Kampala Capital City Authority, the city produces between 2,000 and 2,500 tons of waste daily, with around 18,000 tons ending up at Chitezi landfill. However, health experts and environmentalists argue that relying on a landfill is a sign of poor waste management.
We should have modern ways of processing waste. People should be taught how to separate waste, which is degradable, goes back to the garden for manure, which can be reused as plastic bottles, is not littered everywhere, but taken back for recycling. Plastic bags had been banned in this country, so implementation and enforcement should kick in so that we are able to manage our waste and environment better.
But what is very important also on the 3 R's, there is recycle, reuse, reduce, but there is also refuse. The more we refuse this garbage like plastic and other bottles and stuff, and putting other alternatives or adopting means that can reduce the waste, the more healthy we will live. So I urge everyone to really look at the environmental issue as a very big concern, also linking it to the drainage systems, looking at how we get the water sources. So it's
landfills are not recommended due to their harmful effects on both human health and the environment. Research published in the International Journal of Epidemiology in 2016 highlights that complex chemical and microbiological reactions within landfills produce gaseous pollutants such as nitrogen dioxide and sulfur dioxide, which can cause respiratory infections when inhaled. Paul Mukwaya, a senior lecturer in the Department of Geography, Geoinformatics and Climatic Science at Makerere University, agrees that landfills are not a sustainable solution.
We can do better. And our interest is that we can produce energy from the waste that is produced. But of course, when the materials decompose, they produce a lot of leachates. Leachates which are affecting the water quality around Chitezi.
And these landfills we create every day, they have a very negative impact to our lives, but also to the environment at large. For example, when these landfills are being created, all waste is mixed up, it produces a lot of toxics that emit gases like bad gases in the air that we breathe in, so which are very bad like for our health.
Kampala Capital City Authority acknowledges that landfills are outdated and reveals that plans are underway to attract investors who can repurpose waste.
We have a number of interested suitors who we are talking to. The challenge is that many of them are speculators. So sometimes we end up wasting time with people who have no plan to actually develop other than speculate. So now we are looking for people who have proof of life. You must have a balance sheet that can reflect that you do the business. You must have a track record working in the business. Now, that is narrowing down on the number of people we are talking to.
The question now is whether KCCA and other urban authorities will embrace these innovative waste management strategies. Mutonyi Hilda and Diana Kuti, UBC.
And now every job placement needs a holder best suited if the employer can reap from their investment in the labor sector. Experts in career guidance say professional and business guidance aligned with personality types will serve investment in risky activities. Now, Elsie Kamikaze of Pithi Means Africa told UBC that the lack of vision is a cause for unemployment and business failure.
The world of work provides employment and in return wages for an employee. But most times employees seldom satisfy employers due to factors related to vision and placement. The education system in Uganda will soon demand training on skills, a trade managed and assessed by the Department of Industrial Training. But career guidance experts told UBC that there are training modules to help one discover their potential in any career.
Pithi Means is helping people to know who they are. We realize that many people, they are working or they are studying in the wrong areas. Many children, they are not focusing their vision. The problem, it will be not related with their behavior tendencies, their personality. Many people finish their study without their vision. At the end of the day, you may see them jobless.
Experts in career guidance from Pithi Means say such flaws can be addressed when a trainee has vision.
That's why Pithi Means is here. We have the model for helping people to discover themselves first of all, and to know which area they can be matched with. Many youth, they are jobless. Pithi Means are going to help them to create their job.
Uganda's job market provides for every person with a document from higher learning institutions, although current relevant skills are an added advantage to taking the right career. So, vision in a career will help Ugandans from copycat syndrome and increase business life, thereby addressing unemployment.
You can get any skills you want. As long as these skills are not aligned with your behavior tendency, they will be useless. Some businesses are collapsing because people are doing business in wrong areas. Many people do not know what to do. They chose what to do based on different factors just because they have seen it's profitable. Everyone is copying and copying and copying, then end up with professional problems, frustrations.
The purpose, therefore, is to encourage beneficiaries discover the right professional career and business activity areas aligned to personality types and guide individuals on investment. Abiona Francisco, UBC News.
And the Deputy Resident District Commissioner of Luwero, Seif Katabazi, has criticized opposition politicians in the district for hoodwinking locals in the over government programs. Katabazi says the same politicians criticize government's efforts in the district to benefit from it. He was officiating at the World Breastfeeding Day celebrations at Kalagala Health Center for Luweero District.
That attracted members of parliament, community leaders and government officials. The Deputy RDC, Luweero, Seif Katabazi, warned opposition leaders on criticizing government's efforts of increasing household income to the locals.
The building. It's President's money. It's your money. Not even the President's money. It's the money of you people, your taxation, whereby President brings it back.
Kansime Harriet from the State House support team thanked the President for the tremendous work and support he has given to the breastfeeding mothers in Luweero District.
Nti development evira ddala waggulu mpaka ku muntu asembayo wansi okumulaba ng'ali bulungi.
The head Kalangala Health Center for Dr. Mukasa Wilson appreciated government for the new mothers facility. However, he appealed for more medical equipment for smooth flow of operations.
This facility also will look at our deliveries. This facility delivers has been delivering between 130 to 150 mothers a month. And it has been having 10 maternity beds. Because so you look at the number of the mothers that are delivered here and in the beds, you see that the order has been small.
The youth leader in Luweero District, Elizabeth Salabwa, and some members of the NRM donated items to the facility and the breastfeeding mothers. Lydia Chomkama, UBC News.
And with that, we take a quick break. We return with more details.
It's true what people say, that when I wash and you wash your hands with soap, we'll have less infections as Ugandans. After all, it's hands that handle money. It's hands that feed us. Hands that prepare soil for farming. Hands that we use to learn. And hands that we use for fun.
When I wash and you wash, it means clean hands for all. So, wash your hands with soap and clean water regularly to keep away infections and disease-causing germs. This message is from the National Hand Washing Secretariat with support from UNICEF.
Do you need data collection services, data analysis and reporting, monitoring and evaluation systems? Then contact Multi Technologies, a professional research firm that has provided many organizations with timely research solutions for over 15 years. For more information, visit www.mt.co.ug or call us on 0704 913 399 or 0782 602 963. Visit our office in Kampala at Sayuni Complex in Tinda. Multi Technologies, your professional research firm.
Uganda fire! Endiba fire! Ababona fire! Uganda! Thank you for showing your fire! Has Nambole Stadium opened its doors once again? Why you are one more minute? You were the 12th player when Uganda Cranes needed you the most. Through our famous wins against Tubangunda and our unlucky losses, you stood firm, supporting even louder. Now, as Uganda Cranes take on South Africa and Congo this September, South Sudan in October, and play our second legs against South Africa and Congo in November, bring even more fire! Because with your support, Uganda Cranes is unstoppable! Uganda fire! Proudly brought to you by MTN, the #1 supporter of Uganda Cranes. Together, we are unstoppable.
And now in business, trade between Uganda and Tanzania is witnessing significant growth, prompting calls for strategic infrastructure investment, according to Major General Paul Shisesa Simuni, the Tanzanian High Commissioner to Uganda. During his tour of Port Bell docking yard on the shores of Lake Victoria, he emphasized the need for robust infrastructure to sustain and enhance this progress.
There is a lot of trade, infrastructure and logistics related developments in the region, especially across this vast lake between Tanzania and Uganda. These capital-intensive projects are aimed at improving the social and economic well-being of the region and its people. Port Bell in Luzira plays a critical role in connecting the East African region, acting as a strategic hub for the movement of goods and passengers. It is against this backdrop that Ambassador Paul Kisesa, the Tanzanian High Commissioner to Uganda, toured the port and interacted with its management team, discussing ways to optimize its operations.
Very, very happy to see what is going on here. Okay. Yeah, as you know, also in Tanzania, we have this SGR, which is now operating from Dar es Salaam.
We saw that. The electric train.
Yeah, electric. Yeah, exactly.
The visit also served as a platform for discussing potential joint ventures and projects that could further integrate the economies of Uganda and Tanzania.
The challenges that we're having now is that we have clients who have cargo, but we're failing to accommodate them on time. And in order for a person to take our route and for Central Corridor to be efficiency, capacity needs to be influenced, and also infrastructure needs to be improved.
Ambassador Major General Paul Kisesa was accompanied by Lorna Stafford, the country director of the Tanzanian Ports Authority Uganda, and other officials from the TPL Liaison office pointed out areas that need improvement and disclosed to the Uganda Railway Corporation that a new large vessel designed to transport both cargo and passengers is set to be launched soon, connecting Port Bell and Mwanza. He stressed the importance of preparing the port to handle what will be the largest vessel on Lake Victoria.
So it will be making its a journey from Mwanza, Bukoba, and Port Bell. It is a very big vessel. It can carry almost passengers of 400 passengers.
400 passengers?
Yes.
Now, as for the passenger service, I know we can't wait because we have had people who want to go on the cargo ships and we have no insurance for them. So when we get a passenger ship, I think this will be an added advantage for us, and we look forward to get it. So
the URC in turn assured the Tanzanian delegation of improved cargo handling services and infrastructure upgrades to support increased trade activities. Besides visiting Port Bell, Ambassador Kisesa also inspected the non-operational URC goods shed in Kampala's Central Business District, further emphasizing the need for infrastructure improvement to facilitate smoother trade operations across the region. Dennis Igoa and Juma Samba for UBC News.
And now in sports, the National Basketball League finals have started with action in Game 1 of 7 at the MTN Arena, Lugogo.
In the women's category, it's Uganda Christian University Lady Cannons UCU against reigning champions JKL Lady Dolphins. The two ladies basketball heavyweights have indeed served a splendid first game that in the first half was exclusively dominated by UCU. Playing here in the blue jersey, UCU won the first quarter 15-7 and was 40-23 up by halftime. JKL Lady Dolphins played much better in the third quarter that ended 52-44 in favor of UCU. During a splendid show in the fourth and final quarter, JKL leveled the game at 60-all with just 2 minutes and 42 seconds to play, but ended up losing 71-66. Along the way, Shakira Namvubia continued to mesmerize for UCU with a game-high 21 points that were complemented by Tracy Namugosi's 17. Sheila Lamunu was the other in double figures for UCU with 11, while Hajara Najuku and Matrina Anyango scored 11 and 9 points respectively. For JKL Lady Dolphins, Ajena Sinde, who fouled out late in the game, top scored with 17, with the three others are Brenda Akon, Rita Emanishiwe and Hope Akelo in double figures, 13, 12 and 12 respectively. This is the third time in consecutive years that these teams are meeting, with UCU winning the final 2 seasons ago for 3, but lost in the semi-final to eventual winners JKL last year. In the men's game, it was a repeat of last year's final between Kampala International University here in the green jersey against 9-time champion City Oilers. It was an interesting game that kept many on tenterhooks till City Oilers broke away in the final quarter. City Oilers was the slightly better side in the first quarter, which it won 19-16, onto which they added a solid second quarter that they bossed 18-13 to go into halftime 37-29 up. KIU Titans dominated the third quarter that it won 21-14 to ensure they go into the final quarter trailing by just 1 point, 50-51. But in the decisive quarter, City Oilers, especially through game-high scorer Parish Petty, who managed 22 points up the ante for a 70-61 victory in this first to 4 best-of-7 series. Fayed Bali and Malwal Dyer are the other City Oilers in double figures of 12 and 15 respectively, while Peter Obleng continued his impressive season for KIU with 20 points. Ivan Lumanyika, who managed 10, is the only other in double figures for KIU that had Joel Lukoji finish on 9, Edgar Munaba 7 and Stanley Mugerwa 6. The finals continue with Game 2 on Friday at the MTN Arena Lotogo.
And over 50 kickboxers have been signed for the Rising Warriors training camp that was launched today, Thursday the 29th. Now at, I beg your pardon, these fighters will be in camp until February 2025 as they are set to prepare for major upcoming fights and a blood run that will help fight against infirmities.
The training facility in Mulago will help the boxers prepare adequately for the 3 major events that will span the next 6 months, beginning with a charity build-up fight at Obligato on November 9th, followed by the main event on February 8th, 2025 at Serena Hotel in Kampala, before concluding with a marathon run on March 1st, 2025 at the Kololo Independence Grounds.
We're here to signing in fighters in the training camp to prepare our upcoming fights. We're going to be having multiple fights which are going to be international to showcase our skills in kickboxing, MMA and boxing. In this training camp, there's going to be a lot of exposure. We have to groom a new generation that will be going to be representing Uganda the way we've been doing, or who can reach even where we were unable to reach.
One of the major reasons why these events are happening is to help raise funds and awareness for the fight against sickle cell anemia, which kills over 4,000 children in Uganda annually.
Now, as you hear the word anemia itself, sickle cell victims usually lose blood because red blood cells which are sickled, instead of living for 120 days, they die in only 10 to 20 days. So you get to find that there is a deficit of red blood cells. So they are usually anemic. Now, what we are going to be encouraging the people who come to watch our events is donate blood, because blood is very, very important. Now, on top of them getting the information, they are donating blood, and we shall be offering free testing and counseling for the sickle cell trait on all our events. People don't normally mind much about it. So by doing our fights, doing our events, we're going to be calling, bringing more awareness about the prevention
and management of sickle cell anemia in our country.
Some of the sponsors that will help make these events a success include Yuga Chick, Crown Beverages, JBK Dairy Products that will help the fighters during the next few months of training. Mashamiro Victor and Grace Joyce Kamigisha for UBC News.
Well, and that does it for News Tonight for now. We do return at 10 o'clock with more details. Dorothy Namuyomba on sign language. I am Rhoda Ngonzi. Good evening.